Other side of the almost half is just right above
The regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of Lufkin Independent School District is called to order at 5:15 p.m. Notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code Chapter 551, and a quorum of the board is present. You'll notice that Joe Caesar is not with us tonight. He's traveling out of state, and Delphina Maxey is also gone. She's with a relative out of town for a surgery. So we missed both of them, and glad that we have a quorum so that we can continue with the meeting. First, if you would rise for our invocation and pledges. God, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. And as we come today as board members, to have us always keep in mind the purpose that we are here is to serve. We are to serve our community, serve our staff, and serve our students. Have us always keep that in mind. I ask for wisdom as we make decisions that are going to affect the district going forward. I ask all these things today in your name. Amen. Amen. The pledges. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, you may be seated. I'd like to welcome everyone. It's great to see such a big crowd. We've got some special guests with us here tonight that are going to go near the front of the program. And the comments from the audience, it's a time where we have that people from our community can register to speak directly to the board. We did not have anyone that wished to do so today, and so we're going to move straight to the Celebrate Lufkin ISD. And I'm going to turn that over to Dr. Hockenberry to introduce our special students.
Well, right now, as we're approaching the end of the year, we're starting to see the culminating work of our exceptional students in our district. And tonight, we're gonna talk about two groups that are here that have done amazing things. We're going to start with powerlifting and Coach Absex. As soon as his group is finished, then we're going to turn it over to Ms. Slayton, talk about GT Awareness Week and the exceptional students that are going to be on display tonight there. So we have great kids doing great things every single day, and let's shine a bright light on them tonight. Coach, turn it over to you.
And we'll turn it over to Coach Cook.
All right.
I'm Jeff Cook, and I got the honor to be the head college coach at Lufkin High School. And we had the opportunity to take these three fine young men to Abilene to the state college meet, and they competed very well. And Eli right here was the first state champion at Lufkin in a long time in his weight class. So these are 132-pound kid in the state of Texas. And Antonio Porter lifted in the 308-pound weight class, and he did exceptionally well. And Alex Trejo. And did a great job. And the good thing about these guys are all juniors. We'll be back next year. So y'all again.
Come up here. We'll take a quick picture. Absec, you want to come up for the picture?
You're short. I am short. Go on. Get in here.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Got it, y'all are good.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Sir? Oh, wait.
Ms. Slayton, your turn.
All right, I'm gonna actually turn it over to Ms. Hillis. She's our Advanced Academics Director for the district, and she has some fun and exciting things to share tonight.
Thank you so much. These are all students who are receiving gifted and talented services across our district. Each student represents one of the campuses in our district that offers gifted and talented services. Dunbar and Brandon, where we have our full-time gifted services. Burley and Slack, where we have a pull-in service with our dual language students. Our Lufkin Middle School and our Lufkin High School. And now I'm going to turn it over to them because they can say better than I can exactly what being in gifted services is, what Gifted and Talented Awareness Week is and why it was created, and what gifted services has meant to them.
Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Hockenberry, and other district administrators and staff, and guests. My name is Lexi Hewer. I am a sixth grader student at Lufkin Middle School, and I am a gifted learner. Last week, April 6th through the 10th, was the GT Awareness Week across Texas. The week is designed to highlight the importance of gifted education, celebrate learners, and elevate the impact of strong gifted services across Texas. Being GT means more than being smart. It means being curious, creative, and sometimes even struggling through complex ideas. GT has helped me enjoy the learning process. My language arts teacher, Miss Morris, challenges us to see things from different perspectives. I love the court trials we do here in the day. They force us to analyze details in order to draw conclusions. It also helps me know the giftedness looks different in every person. I'm dyslexic, and this does not keep me from using my gifts. Thank you for recognizing the students need different kinds of challenges to reach their potential.
My name is Alex Alvarez. I am a first grader at Burley, and I am gifted. We have GT Awareness Week to show that all kids learn in different ways. GT helps my brain grow. I get to learn how to code, create, and think. Thank you for helping kids like me learn new things. My name is Hattie Boyd, and I am a second grader, and I am gifted. This week helps people understand how we learn. Some kids need harder thinking and bigger questions. GT helps me create, solve problems, and explore ideas.
Hi, my name is Dylan Sims, and I'm a gifted student at Brandon. GT is important to me because it helps me think outside the box, be creative, and matches my pace of learning. We get to solve problems, explore our interests, and ask questions that don't always have one right answer.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Fonte, and I am a third grade gifted student at SLAC. GT services are important to me because they challenge me, help me grow, and encourage me to ask bigger questions. GT services allow me to be the thinker I am and try new things at my advanced level of thinking.
Hi, my name
is Zaria Richardson. I'm a 9th grader at Lufkin High School and I'm gifted. We have GT Awareness Week so our community understands that gifted learners have unique needs, just like all learners do. However, our needs are not just academic. We have social and emotional needs that also must be supported in order for us to grow to our full potential. Being gifted isn't easy. When those needs are met, students don't just achieve more, they become more curious, creative, and capable thinkers. GT services have helped me by giving me the chance to explore topics I'm actually interested in a more complex way. Instead of just being handed assignments, I'm given fun projects and activities that test what I know and keeps me interested.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carter Ogden, and I'm a 9th grader at Lufkin High School. I'm also part of the GT program in Lufkin Independent School District. If I had to describe GT in one sentence, I'd say it's the class where your brain actually has to wake up, and sometimes you're not happy about it. For me, GT services have made learning more challenging, more interesting, and a lot more meaningful. It's pushed me to think deeper, work harder, and not just look for the right answer, but actually understand why it's right. It's also one of the only places where asking questions doesn't make your teachers nervous. It actually makes them excited. It's more like they want you to learn and understand the subject and just remember it. But more than that, it's made learning interesting. And it's not about just getting the right answer, it's about figuring out why it's right. Sometimes proving your friend wrong, which is also very motivating. This program matters because there are students who need more than just the basics. They need to be challenged, think differently, and to be in place where being curious is actually a good thing. For the reasons my fellow GT learners and I shared many more, the Texas legislature recognized GT Awareness Week and is now celebrated in school districts all across Texas, including Lufkin ISD. On behalf of all GT learners in Lufkin ISD, I thank you for recognizing that students need different kinds of challenges to reach their potential.
Hello, my name is Alexandra Jones, and I'm a gifted learner at Lufkin Middle School. For GT Awareness Week, I wrote a poem to showcase the kinds of thoughts and curiosities that rapidly go through a gifted learner's mind in a short period of time. My poem is called A World Reimagined. Imagine a world made new. What if our economy was fixed? What if our life was easy? What if our world wasn't messy? What if there was no hurt? What if there was no pain? What if there was no sadness? What if there was no grief? What if the world was kind? What if the world was peaceful? What if the world was polite? What if the world was generous? What if we did something? What if we changed something? What if we could change this world? What if we tried to change this world? I know we could do it if we worked together. I like GT because the creative projects have always helped me think in ways I never thought I could, and my teachers have been there for me every step of the way. As part of last week's celebration, gifted students across Lufkin ISD were asked to share the ideas, curiosities, questions, and wonderings they might have at any particular moment. To conclude our presentation, we would like to share some of these with you, with our thanks again for your continued support of the gifted education at Lufkin ISD.
Yes, it was great.
Did everyone receive one? Okay. Squeeze in. All right, 1, 2, 3. Got it.
I know that the students and their families may need to leave. Please feel free to do that. We understand that you've got other things at your home this evening to get done for tomorrow. But thank you for being here. I'm always really impressed when young people are willing to come and speak to adults in front of a group. That's something that that can be difficult, and to see them, that they practiced and they thought out what they want to say. And it's just a really nice thing for all of us to get to see as a board, and see some particular students doing great things in the district. Okay, we're gonna move on now to item number 7, which is administrative reports, and I'll ask Dr. Hockenberry if he has, well, next one, sorry, administrative reports. That is, doesn't have anybody on here. Oh, I guess it's not an item, okay, I see. We're going to 7.1, that is you, Dr. Hockenberry.
Okay, my report is to continue celebrating Lufkin ISD, but having all of the employees in the room stand up for a moment. If you work for Lufkin ISD, please stand up. Sorry. I can't thank y'all enough for the last 2 years and the work that each of you have done. I can look at each one of you and name 3 or 4 things immediately that you have done to go above and beyond, better tomorrow than today, to help kids and help each other aspire to be something greater than what we were just not long ago. So the work we're doing is not easy, but it is very impactful, and I want you to know how much you appreciate it. And that's my superintendent report. Thank you all for listening.
The board echoes that. We appreciate all of you, and we also appreciate Dr. Hockenberry as well. Okay, we're gonna move on to 7.2, the business office report with Mr. Weddington.
The business office reports begin on page 5. On pages 6 through 12, we have the revenue and expenditures through March, the monthly investment report through March, and the tax collections to the end of February. We are 9 months through the year, but we are under the 75% of our expenditures, so we are on track right now for the year. Our tax collections are actually a little bit higher than the average right now, so that's also a plus, and we're continuing to monitor those through the end of the year. On page 13, we have the quarterly investment report for your review that shows the change over the last 3 months. On pages 14 through 15, we have the update for our Safe Cycle 1 and Cycle 2 grant. There are no changes from last month as we continue to finish out the projects and make all those final payments for those projects that have been funded through that grant. And then on pages 16, we have the update for the capital outlay report. The changes are in yellow, and as you can see, the Ricola roof installation has begun on that. And they are kind of working around the different testing days just so that they're not interrupting students. And we will know shortly when that expected completion date will be. The AC units in Dunbar, we got all the quotes in and are going to be buying those from Coborn's, but our maintenance department is actually going to be able to install all of those, so that's gonna help us save a little bit of expenses on that project. And then the maintenance box trucks has been delivered, so that item is complete. And then on page 18 is the budget timeline for 26-27. We are updating that timeline, made changes to the workshop number 1 and 2, pushing it back until May. There's no questions?
Any questions? Okay, then we're gonna thank you, Mr. Weddington. We're gonna move on to item number 7.3, Education Services and Accountability Office Report with Ms. Slayton and Ms. Tierney.
On page 19, we've included our summer school locations along with our leadership team of the personnel who will be leading us in summer school. We are ramped up right in the middle of planning, and we have some exciting things, especially at K-5, that we're looking forward to doing with our students this summer.
And on page 20, you'll see the literacy framework and followed by the math framework right afterwards. And this work started a couple of years ago through a couple of grants, and we gathered a lot of our stakeholders, teachers, principals, and instructional coaches, and we had some training dates with Region 7
on research-based instructional strategies. And then we dug a little deeper into what we believe, and then with our commitments for every group of stakeholders. So the literacy framework, as well as the math framework, is available in your packet, and I'll take any questions that you might have.
Backtrack to the summer school, when they get started?
Different programs are starting different days, but mostly the first week of June.
For the elementary kids, how long do they go?
They go until July 9th. Is that right, or ending on July 2nd?
Ending on July 2nd.
July 2nd, this year. We're gonna end before, July 4th this year.
They have 5 weeks.
What precipitated the literacy framework and the math framework? Was that part of a program?
It was part of the LASSO, the grants that have been coming through the state for the last couple of years. So right now, we just received the next set of LASSO, but this came, so the way that works is you get like a grant to build the foundation, which is your framework, and then you get the implementation grant where you implement, we're about to implement and move on it. So this is the phase 1 of building that groundwork before we move to the implementation of it.
Okay.
And there was about 50 or so teachers and educators on these committees that came together to write these.
We have representation from every campus.
Okay, moving on, item number 7.4, Administrative Services Office with Dr. Spikes.
Yeah, our informational report begins on page 24, contains any recent hires, resignations, terminations, or on-the-job employee injuries. Our support services report begins on page 26, and I just want to draw your attention to the fact that we held our second Safety and Security Committee meeting this past week. Actually, it was April 8th, and we welcomed our new police chief, Travis Brazel, as well as the assistant police chief, Nick Malone, to the committee.
Any questions about that? Okay, item number 7.5 is a report on the board's continuing education requirements. Under State Board of Education rule, completing required continuing education each year of service is a basic obligation and expectation of any sitting board member. As board president, I am required to announce the name of each member who has completed, exceeded, or is deficient in the required continuing education. Joseph Caesar exceeds, Christy Gay exceeds, Delphina Hadnot Maxey exceeds, Matt Knight exceeds, Allison Langston exceeds, Melinda Moore complete, and Erica Neal exceeds. So I'm very glad that everybody has met the requirements that are required by us by the state. It is something that I did not know before I became a school board member, that there's, and it's not insignificant. I mean, it's something that it's every year that we have to, and it's usually, about 10 to 12 hours a year. But if you cannot get it at a conference, then you do it online, and then there's exams with each of those that you have to pass. So, I'm just glad to work in a district with a group of people who's taking this seriously. So I appreciate each of y'all. Okay, number 8, approval of the consent agenda. Several routine items are being grouped into a single consent agenda. Any board member may request that any or all of the items on the consent agenda be removed and considered as a separate item. If no such request is made, all items on the consent agenda may be approved by a single action of the Board of Trustees. So we're gonna go through and have all of these reports from the different people, and then we'll take that up for a motion. The first one is the minutes of the previous meeting. Dr. Hockenberry.
You can find those on page 29 of your board book from the March 19th, 2026 meeting.
Okay, and then Dr. Spikes, the professional personnel monthly report.
Yeah, that's actually on page 34, and we're just gonna ask for your approval on the new hires that are listed there.
I have a question about that. How are we doing on the incentive? We have, the early
resignation?
Yeah, are we about like we normally are, or the fewer?
A few less, but.
A few less.
Yeah, we're close.
Yeah.
It's over. Okay, so that's already done.
Yes, sir, April 1st.
And it's less than previous years?
A few.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Weddington, the expenditures for March.
On pages 35 through 50 are the checks over 3,000, the invoices over 10, and the monthly check register. If there's no questions, we'll move on.
Why don't you pick up the next two, please?
On pages 51 through 54 are the budget amendments for the month that we're requesting you to approve. There are a few small amounts moving between the campuses, and then we're reallocating some unused salaries for increases in fuel costs, transportation, and grounds department. And then on page 55, we have our purchases over 50 that we're requesting you to approve. Two of these are annual payments that we have for our STEM program in our technology department, and then the other is a grant-funded program support for Region 7.
Okay, any questions about that? Then the next item to go into the consent agenda is with Ms. Gaston, grant-funded and required contracted services for math curriculum implementation.
Yes, so with the LASSO grant that was brought up earlier, we received some funding that we're required to use towards implementation of the new math curriculum. And we went through a two-phase selection process, and the committee went with Engage to Learn for that contract.
Okay, anyone have any questions? These were all provided to the board ahead of time to review in our packet. Okay, if no questions, then we're going to go to Mr. Josh Williams for our E-rate contract.
Okay, on page 74, you'll see that on February 4th, a quote request for E-rate eligible services was advertised and requested for wireless upgrades across the district. 2 quotes were received regarding the E-rate RFQ. Sabre Consulting was selected for the purchase, configuration, and installation of these wireless upgrades. You'll also see a breakdown that shows how much E-rate will cover along with the district's cost. We are requesting that the board approve the awarded vendor for this year's E-rate as presented. Are there any questions?
Okay, and why don't you go ahead and cover the firewall services then?
Okay, so on page 75 and 76, you will find information regarding the renewal of our firewall subscription and support services. We originally purchased these services under a 3-year agreement, and this will be a renewal for those services. We are requesting the board approve to renew the firewall subscription services and hardware support as presented. Are there any questions on that?
The only question I have is it if I'm making the yearly payments, it looks like it's a little bit of a surcharge for that?
Yes, there's a little bit of it's like 3% of an interest rate on that.
Okay, no other questions. We're gonna move to Ms. Layton, certification of provision of instructional materials.
This is the form that we're required to submit each year to the State Board of Education and TEA, basically saying that we cover all of the Texas essential knowledge and skills in our classrooms. It lists all of our curriculum. There are no changes to this from the previous year's submission, other than adding the blue on it, which we've already had board approval. So that is what that form is. It starts on page 77 and it ends on page 109.
Okay, with that completes all the items that are in the consent agenda. Anyone make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as it's been presented. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Item number 9, discussion and possible board action regarding SB 546, required reporting on school bus seatbelt costs. Dr. Spices.
Yes, Senate Bill 546 requires the board to determine whether or not our 25-26 budget will allow for the purchase of or the retrofitting of existing buses, purchase of new buses or the retrofitting of existing buses with the 3-point seat belts. What we're supposed to do is give you the cost of what it would cost us to purchase new buses, and also the cost of what it would cost us to retrofit buses that we currently have, our fleet count, as well as any other issues that we may see with you actually making that purchase. And one of the things that we have suggested, obviously, is that we recommend that you say we don't have it in our budget, but also too, if we were to go and purchase that, we're also concerned that it would also void warranty, void our warranty, so that we could incur additional costs if we were able, if we had some kind of accident or something like that, or if there was an issue with one of the buses, we wouldn't be able to replace that bus. So the motion is there at the bottom, so we would ask you, Ms. Gay, to make that motion after you review it, of course, if you don't agree with our motion. But based upon what we have gathered in terms of how much it would cost us, and also looking at our current budget, we suggest that we would not be able to afford the cost.
Well, and I know our current budget is a balanced budget. This would take it into a fairly significant amount. Just for those who don't have the handout, if we did a low-end retrofit, it would cost $1,170,000. If we did a high-end retrofit, $1,560,000. And if we replace the buses that don't comply right now with new buses, that would cost $5,850,000. So I would say we do not have that much money in our balanced budget right now, nor places that I would think that we could take it from and decrease services anywhere else.
Considering that this is somewhat of a dog and pony show with our legislation, considering that every advocacy group in Austin said we needed to increase the basic allotment across the board instead of earmarking the money that they decided they know better in Austin than we know here locally. And so considering that this is another unfunded mandate that our local representation has put on top of us, they didn't listen. A big increase in the basic allotment would have probably allowed us to possibly budget for these kind of unfunded mandates. So I'll read it. I move the board determine in accordance with SB 546 and the Texas Transportation Code 547-701 that the district's current 25-26 budget does not permit the purchase of or retrofitting of 3-point seatbelts on the 39 compliant buses, non-compliant, excuse me, definitely non-compliant buses at an estimated cost of $1.17 to $1.56 million, and I hope that our newly elected representative will pay attention. Hope our new representation will listen to the needs of local school districts. This determination is based on both the financial impact and the technical certification risk identified by the manufacturer, Thomasville Buses Incorporated, which includes but is not limited to the voiding of the manufacturer's warranty. We further approve that the superintendent to submit this determination along with the required fleet inventory and meeting documentation to the Texas Education Agency through the Sentinel portal. Why did I volunteer for this? 2026 deadline. And I hope that our next rep and senator will listen about the daily allotment or the basic allotment increase.
Okay, I'll second the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed to that? That motion carries.
We thank you, and Mr. Burton thanks you.
Thank you.
Yes. All right, item number 10, discussion and possible board action to amend the 2026-2027 academic calendar. Dr. Hockenberry.
You have a proposed amended version of the 26-27 calendar that begins on page 112. If you'll recall, we adopted a 2-year calendar, and after going through about a year of the first one, we noticed that some changes might need to be considered, and so through a lot of consideration, deliberation, conversations, and input, this is what was drafted, and it's ready for your consideration.
And I understand the changes are either zero or minimal to the students.
They're zero or minimal. Where the big change is, the big request was to move the starting of to give more time for teachers at the beginning of the year to prepare. They wanted 5 days if we could accommodate, get out of July for the start date for staff and have students start at the middle of the year. But there's we've squeezed a little bit, we've taken a couple of staff development days out. But this meets all of the big requirements or asks of our staff so that they can be best prepared to start a school year, and still hasn't changed a whole lot in it, but we squeezed a little.
So do we have a plan, if it's approved tonight, about pushing this out to all parents in the
It's
district?
gonna go out tonight, actually.
Okay.
Kathy's got it ready to go.
Okay, good, because I know families might need to be aware, staff will certainly need to be aware if they plan for their families.
We were mindful of all the pre-established major breaks, to not disrupt those, because we recognize that many families make plans well in advance. So, the biggest change is to the front end of the year.
I would say one thing we need to make sure, I don't know if it's just because it's in the packet, is that last week of December is cut off. I don't know, I mean, I know we're out, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
I couldn't tell on the map.
I think that's the way it loaded.
Yeah. Now, we don't have a 30th day in June on this calendar.
We should.
We're rewriting the whole calendar.
Yeah.
Taking out days.
I will say I appreciate this and kind of front loading. I think it's important, especially since we're adopting a new curriculum, allowing teachers to kind of get acclimated before the students come. But I would also, in next year's planning, like to really look at what those days and holidays look like when we come off of that Christmas break in January. Because when my kids come and they're complaining about feeling like they're out of school too often, I feel like that's a problem. And so that's between January and spring break. That was the feedback that I got from my girls, was just that like we can't seem to get into a rhythm of school because we're constantly having an abbreviated week. And so I just think that that's something we should probably look at in planning in the future.
I'm still gonna make a suggestion for fall break. I know we have to work with AC, but, the rest of the districts in the county too, and to end it maybe at the end of the 9 weeks instead of coming back for 4 days. I know it's just the way things adjusted now with the new later start date, but a 6-day break is a lot sometimes for families too, so 6 working days.
Motion to approve the submitted calendar.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the calendar as it's being presented to us tonight. All in favor signify by saying aye. Okay, any opposed to that? And that motion carries. Item number 11, discussion and possible board action on the extension of employee contracts. Dr. Hockenberry.
You have a list of recommended contract extensions beginning on page 113 and ending a few pages later.
I make a motion that we, approve the extension of the employee contract as presented.
We have a motion and a second to approve the extension of employee contracts as presented to the board. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed to that? That motion carries. Item number 12, closed session. There's not a reason for us to have a closed session tonight, so we'll move through that. And also item number 13. We'll move to item number 14, board requests for new information and or reports. Anybody from the group have anything to cover with that? Nope. All right, then. Where's my phone? Okay. All right, then we're adjourned at 5:53.